lie began from the very beginning of time, right? And I can ask you one question right now. What does history tell us you about Africa? Who discovered Africa? If you write right now on Google who discovered Africa, you find out that it's one white man that he came and discovered Africa. And you can ask yourself that how can you discover a place that already exists? How can you discover a place that people already live in that place? It is impossible, but that's what the history tells us. That's what people believe about Africa, that it was discovered by a white man. This guy, he came, and then he went back, he gave a report, and then the next we know is colonialism, because those guys, they sat somewhere to divide Africa like a piece of cake, because they discovered it, they own it, it belonged to them. But that is us. We discovered, we're the first people to know. And today you have a lot of people around the world that they think that Africa was discovered by them. Okay, let me tell you this, guys. Darkness has no power. Darkness has no power at all. Like darkness, it has no power. Why? If you're in the deep darkness, all right, you don't see anything. You don't see where you're going. You don't see what is next to you. And then you just turn light. In 1 second, that darkness disappears. So do you understand the importance of light in the midst of darkness? Okay, on the other hand, if you have light, it doesn't matter how much there's a deep darkness, it doesn't matter, but you always see something as long as there's a light. This is to tell you that, guys, in the midst of darkness, there's these bright moments that happen, and our job is to focus on that. Sometimes, there'll be a time we'll talk about the issues and everything and the struggles that are happening and how can we get over this, and there will be a time that we'll channel our energy and we channel our hearts to something good that is happening.
The geopolitics of the world never got crazier. This is the most craziest place on earth, because this is the portion of land which is owned by absolutely no one. Like, this is the land which is independent. It's not yet colonized, it's not owned by any state. You see, Egypt has some claims to the land of Sudan, and Sudan has claims to the land of Egypt. And if any of the two nations claim this land, they will have to lose all other claims to their neighbor. Like Egypt will have to lose their claims to Sudan, and Sudan will have to lose their claim to Egypt if they take this land. And this land is really not that productive. It's really a desert place. So they chose not to claim it. So this is the only portion in the world which is owned by absolutely no one. And today, I declare that this is Merciful Kingdom.
Everybody, hey family, welcome back to Swahili Nation One Africa. So glad to be back here, and I'm so glad to see everybody who is joining. Appreciate you guys for coming. Appreciate TikTokers. Appreciate Instagrammers. I appreciate X. I don't know how can you call X users, and maybe X users. Appreciate Facebook users and YouTubers, maybe Facebookers and YouTubers. Appreciate you guys for joining. It's good to be here. And it's going to be another great day. We have been having this series of live stream since the first time I got here. First time we did live stream of the city. Actually, days are running so fast. Can you imagine that today is already 4th day? First time we did a live stream of the tour of the entire city of Addis Ababa. And then second day, we spoke about the first adversary of Africa, the enemy of Africa. The second day, no, the third day we spoke about who is the second adversary of Africa. That was yesterday. Today, it is the third day. No, it is the fourth day. We're talking about who is the third adversary of Africa. I know most of you already know the first and second because we've been talking about that a while. At the third one, I don't know if you joined me the very first day when I got here. I think you might know, and we're gonna digest that a little bit today. Just to give you a little bit of background, the first enemy of Africa or adversary of Africa, we're talking about mentality. I think that we covered even yesterday, mentality and how this African mentality is actually basically trained for so long to become our own enemy, right? Like there was a time that Africa had to deal with somebody else as an enemy. But after that enemy left and we got our own independence, we are still remaining with this mentality. So basically, this is crazy. I'm just getting this right now that the enemy turn yourself to become the enemy of yourself. I mean, that sounds like I'm putting blame on that enemy, but what I mean is, the problem is with me who allowed that to happen, right? So even when we kicked away all these people and regain our independence and stay free from colonialism, still our mind were already colonized and we were already turned against each other, turned against ourselves. And who to blame in that is us, who allowed it to happen, allowed for us to start looking at our neighbors in a different way, allowed to start looking at somebody in a different way. This is what actually change and transform us in that manner. So it is very important to think about this. That before anything, before everything, we had our own issues, we had our own things here and there going on, but it was not as the same issues we have them today in our countries or in our society. It was not the same thing, but then we had all this colonialism and everything, and after that, we fought for independence, but our minds still are still there. You know what I'm saying? Like the way we look at each other, the way we deal with one another, the way we process all these things is completely and totally different, and they causing us to actually move backward and not, forward. That is the first adversary of Africa. I think I spoke a lot about that 2 days ago and yesterday. If you did not have a chance to look at that, please, you can actually go here and check out that as well. Here on YouTube, we have that stream. And then yesterday we spoke about the second one, leadership or leaders. And we tried to link a little bit, from mentality all the way to leaders. How does this work? How it comes from this place to this place, how it comes to that. We digested it very well. And we also try to, show some solutions. So therefore, what kind of leadership do we need in Africa? What kind of leadership do we want in Africa? I don't believe that, everybody's not a leader. I believe we do have leaders in the continent. There's a lot of rising stars right now. And shout out to one person, actually. He made 2 songs of Ibrahim Traore. Those songs are really powerful. I cannot share them right now here because I do not have his permission. He just shared them with me through the mail, and then right away I actually texted my number to communicate with him through WhatsApp, but I think he hasn't seen that mail yet. Because I love the songs. 2 very powerful songs. They talk about Ibrahim Traore. I think it's really nice songs. It would be really nice, to release them here for you guys to listen, but I don't have that permission, so I'm not gonna do. But hopefully we'll release them in the coming days. We'll be able to release them in the coming days, and you guys will be able to hear these songs you'll be able to hear. They're really good. So shout out to the person who made it, and with his permission, then we'll be able to upload here on the YouTube channel for you guys to enjoy as well. So yesterday we spoke about that, and we spoke about, how, so what kind of leadership does Africa need? What kind of leadership do we need? And my suggestion, this is my personal suggestion, I spoke about servant leadership. This is the something that I believe in. This is something that I work on. This is something that I'm learning to be that type of way. You know what I'm saying? To be somebody who is there to serve and not there to be served. Somebody who understands that I'm here to serve those people surrounding me. Like if me as a leader, I do my due diligence to deliver what I'm supposed to do. And if you are a person who are led by me, also do your due diligence to deliver, then we'll have this perfect combo. So in the perspective of leadership, where we are not putting blame on anyone, but basically we are linking these two different groups, because leaders cannot do anything without people, and people can certainly not do anything without leaders, because they're the one who call the shots. There's the one who actually make the decision. There's the one who actually, everything you see. And because of constitution, you cannot do anything. You might end up in prison, right? So there must be this marriage. Leaders supposed to marry citizen, and citizens supposed to marry leaders as well. Leaders, they need to have that awareness that, I'm here to serve. I'm not the boss, they are the boss. I'm here for them. I'm here to fulfill and to act and to do the will of the people, the will of the country. The vision of the country is bigger than my personal vision. The legacy of the nation is much important than my own legacy. And I think for these African leaders, they really need to understand that it's not about making your own legacy. It's not about building your own name, because country is bigger than our every single individual. The country's name is bigger than individual, right? So our focus and our goal, it should focus on implementing and accomplishing and bring to pass about the visions of the country. Yes, I might have vision as a leader. I might have my own desire and my own will, things to fulfill and how to do it. But I should always link and align with the bigger vision of the country, bigger vision of the nation. So we talk this about even in the business perspective, that when you're in a company, it doesn't matter whether you're CEO, you're director, or you're just normal, folk. You can never be bigger than the company. Right? Even if you're a CEO, you're not supposed to be bigger than the company. That means if the CEO decides to walk away today, company will still be there. And that's how we should build the company, right? This is how I build my company, so that okay, even when I'm not there, the company is supposed to continue to run, because the people who are still pushing the visions, to the promised land. That's the same thing in the country as well. It doesn't matter whether you are there or you're not there, the country's supposed to land. But in our context, a lot of times, leader become like God, right? They become like untouchable. You cannot criticize, you cannot say anything. You can basically not oppose. You just need to praise whatever that is going on, whether it's good or bad. You need to oppose. I'm not that kind of guy. If you do well, you'll be applauded. If you do wrong, you'll be critically, professionally, and constructively criticized. All right. It must happen that way in order to build that Africa that we want. In a case of a company, to build the company that I want, me and my people, to build the country that we want, to build the continent that we want. So there must be this marriage. All right. There must be this yeshi gabicha. What I'm saying, between the leadership and between the citizen. Right? If leaders are standing on their own and citizens are standing on their own, you don't have marriage, you have divorce. So there's no longer yeshi garbage there. You're not going to be able to attend yeshi garbage because there's a divorce between leaders and between people. Right? Man, this concept, I don't know if people are listening, because I'm speaking right now, but I'm like, dang, man, this is kind of very smart. You know what I'm saying? So I don't know if you guys are listening, but this is very important. This is very important to note, because these are the things that can actually run the country. These are the things. Okay. I don't know what would you say, with what is happening. For example, I'll just give a simple, example. I remember when Trump was running for the office for the first time, a lot of people, they were telling him that, you're a businessman, you're running a company. Do you think a country is a company? You can never run a country like a company. But to be honest with you, when he came and what he did,
He's actually much better than what politicians, so-called politicians, have been doing. And now he is going to be inaugurated for the second time. So I don't know which side you're on, but I'm giving this an example to just show that that it is possible. You can actually run the business, you can run a company, and you can use the same mentality, you can use the same aggressiveness to run the country as well. Yes, country is not a company, yes, but there's a few principles, there's some sort of principle that you could use to run, the people as well. Because what you do is this: in the company, you're running a company of 1,000 people. In a country, you're running a country of, let's say, 100 million people. But do you really reach to everybody, you personally as the president? No. You have senators, you have governors. So your job, you need to lead as much as you can. You need to come up with the policies. You need to present to the Senate. They need to review them, and you need to get maybe as much as the governors from your own party, in the government. And what you need to just implement that spirit of you, that vision that you have in your party with all these big leaders who are leading in the regions and in the different states. So once you do that, then these people, these hundreds and maybe 200, whatever, they will be able to transfer, they will be able to lead their community as well. So you're kind of like a supervisor. All right, you have a vision, you know the vision of the country, you have your policies and you want to implement them, but you cannot implement them alone. You need people who will stand with you to implement those policies for the benefit of the people. And you'll be out of your mind if you're there for the people and you don't want to implement the policies of the people, right? You just need to do it. It doesn't matter which kind of party you're coming from. And for the people, for the country, go ahead and do it. And that's how you govern the country, at least from my small knowledge of governing the, small businesses. Then I guess I understand in that perspective. I could be right on my own point, it really, yeah, just get that. So that was yesterday's topic, talking about leadership as the second adversary of Africa, and what should we do for that not to happen, to have the mindset of servant leadership. We need to have servant leaders, people who will just be there to serve. They're not to be served, they're not there to be applauded, no, but they're there to serve. As long as it's for the benefit of the greater good of the country and the people, then that's all. Whether people they understand you or not, it doesn't matter. And to be honest, even myself personally, in this journey of leadership, in whatever category that I've had, I never had every time people understand me. People that don't understand me, even right now, even people that I thought that they understand me and they believe in me, they don't. They don't. But the thing is, if you're a leader and you're standing in that position, you already have a vision. You already have a vision. You know where do you want to go as a people, as the whole country. So not everybody will understand you. Some of them, they will be with you. Some of them, they will turn against you. Some of them, they will be with you for some time. Later on, they turn against you. But your focus, it should be on the prize. On the price, all right? Should be on the price, because one day it will make sense. It might not make sense right now, but one day it will make perfectly good sense. All right, guys, so that was the second day, and today, the final day, we're going to talk about the third adversary, third enemy of this continent. And for this, I would like to say this category is those people. I'm using that, those people. It means everybody. They could be Africans, they could be, because African kind of like, hit them in the second point. So maybe Africans, anyway, but be those in the second point is leaders. So basically they're African, but leaders. The third point is those people who wants to exploit or take advantage of the continent. So we have different kind of people, we have people who are non-African, they want the same thing. And also we have African in this category who want the same thing. And I think a lot of time we forget. A lot of time we focus on non-Africans who are exploiting the continent and want to take advantage of the continent. But let me break this news to you that not only non-Africans, but also there are Africans who wants to exploit Africa. So in this point, I'm not going to touch leaders. Leaders are already in the second group. This is where every single one of you and me are included here as well. Whether you look like me or you don't look like me. But if your heart is to take advantage of this continent by any means, this is the reason why the continent is bleeding inside out. So here you can talk about Western influence. Here you can talk about Eastern influence. Here you can talk about even internal, domestic influence that is happening. Here you can talk about tribalism. Okay, here you can talk about religionism. Here you can talk about nationalism. So now you understand that you are in that category as well. You can talk about all those. These are enemies of this continent. These are enemies who are pulling the continent backwards. We're not moving forward because of people like this, because of the individuals like this, because of the institution. I always give an example of United Nations peacemakers. This also is the category. It could be institution, it could be individuals, it could be companies. Yesterday we were talking here about Barrick in Mali. They have been stopped from mining, gold mining in Mali. Why? Because they've been taking a lot of money out of Mali. 80% goes to them. Only less than 20% actually goes to the government. So they are reviewing those contracts. And they say, no, you cannot do this. You guys are not paying tax. You have been enjoying for a long time. No, they actually took away the license of mining gold. The same thing a couple years back, like 4 or 5 years, it happened in Tanzania. The same company. This is the company that is making a lot of money all across the continent, digging out the golds from the continent. So this, it could be like that. International organizations, local organizations, international companies, local companies, non-Africans and Africans. There's people who do not wish well for this continent. They don't think about the unit of this continent. They don't think about the well-being of this continent. They're selfish. They don't think about tomorrow. They don't think about the benefit development of this continent. They'll rather develop themselves. They'll rather keep whatever money they want for themselves somewhere else and leave the continent bleeding inside out. They'll rather hold onto development projects. And these are not just leaders, even people. Development projects for their own benefit, simply because they did not receive 10% of that. I'm really surprised. Like in Africa, all of these projects, international projects, I mean, big national projects that are being done, whether it's building roads, building railways, building airports, building schools and whatever. I did not know, man. Most of these projects, you see, like our countries entering into a contractual agreement with, let's say, Chinese or Americans or Canadians. I did not know those people who are doing that, they actually require the part of the money to receive. Some of them 10%, some of them 15%, some of them, and so on and so forth. So if you are Chinese, all right, and you got a tender in my country to build a road, and I am in charge of that road, I'll require you to give me 10% of that money that the government is paying. So if I pay you 10 billion, though 10 billion is a lot. Let's say if I pay you 2 billion US dollars, 10% of 2 billion US dollars, that means 200 million US dollars, you need to give it to me, 10%, for you to get the deal. So basically, everybody's requesting that, oh, okay, Chinese, they're like, we want this deal. Turkish, they're like, oh, we want this deal. France people, we want this deal. Americans, we want this deal. So me, as a person who I'm in charge of giving that deal, then I'll look at all of the proposal. What are you offering me? Somebody will say, okay, I'll give you 3% of this project. Another one, I'll give you 1%. Another one, 7%. Another one, 10%. So I'll go after 10%. Because otherwise, you cannot get that deal if you don't have something that you want to give in return. Right? Okay, let's not confuse here. Some of you say this is thank you note, but I'm not talking about thank you note. We know what is this. It's corruption that you. So I'm giving you money to do project, but you need to return to me 10% in order for you to take a hold of that project. This is how projects have been happening in the continent. I went to several countries in Africa, so far 7 countries, and I've seen that in most of these 7 countries. This is how it happens. And that's why you see most of these projects, they're not quality projects, because the money, first of all, is being reduced, receiving. So if you are not giving it to me, I'm not giving you a deal. It doesn't matter if you might be better than me in that deal. You might be really qualified. You have all qualification to do that project, but I'm not going to give it to you simply because you're not giving me 10%. So those are people, individuals, who do not wish well for this continent. Because the matter of fact that you're in charge of that project, it means you're being paid. Why do you have to take extra money from that project for yourself? If the project costed 2 billion US dollars, 2 billion US dollars should be used for that project. But if I write $2 billion and then I only use $1 billion, 1.5, and then that 5 is for me, that is stealing. You don't wish well for this continent, because if that is 1.5, that 500 million US dollars can be done for another project in the continent. But we don't have that accountability in the continent. We don't have that level of responsibility in that continent. Sometimes they're like, okay, it's not 500 million, it's just $1 million. That $1 million could build a hospital, could build a school. Okay, it doesn't have to be 100. Maybe it's 200. It's 200,000 US dollar. Even that 200,000 US dollar, it could buy some chairs in the hospital. It could buy some computers for for students to use. It could buy some books. Why in Africa you go to the library, you don't see books. You go to the classes, there's not enough chairs. You go to the whatever, they don't have enough computers. Our kids, they're not learning with this new technology that is coming out because there's no computer. And somebody is taking a deal of the government, and then it's just eating. Even if it's $10,000, even that, man, even if $1,000, you know what it could buy? It could buy a chair. It could buy a chair in the school. Somebody is sitting on the floor. It's cool because they don't have chairs, and you are taking $1,000 from whatever it is. No, this is the high standard. When you talk about high standard of accountability and responsibility, it means you're not taking even a single cent. If you have been, and let me say this, because yesterday, I was talking about leaders. Let me talk about you, even government workers, you public workers. You public workers, you are the reason why sometimes we complain to the government. You are the reason. Because you're the one who actually received the projects. You're the one who are supposed to be the doers of the project. You go to some places, you see the school that has been built, and then they tell you this school built, a $1 billion US dollar. You're like, what? Do you know really that money? This school, this guy looks like 100,000 US dollars. You say 1 billion US for real? This school or this hospital or this road or this much length? Because you know what? This money goes to them, to their pockets, to do the project. But they cannot really go to their pocket. They're going to their offices, and then they have all these engineers and all these people that are supposed to build, sending into them, but they need another return to them, and they lower the standard of the projects. And so we have, you can either have the first hand or you can have a second hand, but we always go after the second hand. That's why you see Africa is the only place that you deport a lot of second-hand clauses. Kudos to Rwanda because they rejected. They were like, we're not going to do that. That's no industry there. Only in Africa we settle for something lesser than our value because we have people who do not wish well for the continent. And you public workers today, the one place that you will be annoyed to go, it is in the public office. You'll be annoyed, whether it's bank, whether it's hospital, whether it's school, whether it's whatever, whether it's like tax office, you'll be annoyed. Because everything, you are employed there by the government. First of all, not by the government, you're employed there by the citizen because you're spending my taxes that I pay every single month. And at the end of the year, you spend that. It is your salary. So it's not really government paying, but me, I'm paying you. And then you are receiving that money every single month. And then when I come, I want service from you. You don't want to do simply because I'm not giving you extra cash. You want to do, you cannot do your own job. And you want me to pay you. Public workers are the one who destroying this continent. I'm sorry, guys. I'm sorry. I know. You might come up with the video, who is the enemy of Africa? And you'll say it's Mika and Swahili Nation and One Africa, 3 of them. But I'm coming after all of you, man. If you are not part of that group, then I don't have issue with you. But if you're part of that group, I have issue with you because you are the one who is letting this continent down. One person can never let this continent down. It's not a job of one person. It's a collective work. I said these leaders supposed to marry with citizen people, with people. If we cannot marry, there's nothing that will happen because you only have one leader. You have like 100 million people. You have 60 million people, 120 million people, 200 million people. If all of us we stay in our position, if we really want to see change in our continent, in our countries, let me tell you this, man, sometimes not just leaders are letting us down, but public servants are letting us down. If you want to know that, go to any public office in your country. Go. I'm not speaking here something that is out of this world. No, go. I've been in so many public offices. I've been in so many. I'll tell you that you'll go there. If you go there at 10, rest assured, you're going to leave there at 2 p.m. That if you're okay. If not, you're going to close the door with the security guard in that office at 5 p.m. or 6 p.m. Nothing will be done. And not because these people are busy with the work, but because You might be there. I went to this one office, and then somebody's just talking to a phone. Hey, oh, wow, I miss you so much. Oh, but now I'm working. Please, can you wait a little bit, man? I'm there. I'm sitting. I changed my face. My face was like Cain face. Like, yeah, no, now I'm working. No. You go first. No, you hang up first. Oh my God, in the government office, and then after that, okay, they don't even look at you. Okay, oh, they don't even ask you anything. So you need to start talking. Oh, I'm sorry, madam. I was just asking for this, and then for this, do you know how can you help me? Where can I get? And then you see, you understand that? Like, no eyes contact, no communication, no. And I'm the one who is actually paying your salary. It's like that. This is the mindset of our people. So this is combined, the first and the last one, the mindset of our people. But wait for white men to come. Hey, welcome. Hey, how are you? How can I help you? Oh my God. Where are you from? Oh, yeah. Here. Why? Because they want tip. Get out of here, man. What kind of mindset is that? That's the mindset I was talking about. And these are kind of people who are letting down the continent. These are kind of people who cause this country to remain in the same level they are. Because sometimes when it's not even up to the government. Sometimes government, they really release funds for the projects to be run here down. But there's people down here who they're implementer of these projects. They're not really staying in the land, in their position. We need to go after them too. Because this thing, you remember, I said this 5 years ago when we started this channel, that our job is from the bottom up, not up bottom. No, our job, we're starting from the roots and then we go up. Starting from the roots, it means starting from our mental well-being. Start from this, our mentality, and then we go up. So this is the third enemy of Africa. We start from the roots. Those are roots. We already talk about mentality. That I can't even talk about that. I can't talk enough about that. But now we're going to the roots. Guys, I have a game to watch, so I'll be finishing today. Airy, gotta be honest with you guys. All right. So we're starting from there. So this is my call to all public workers. Please do your part. Public workers, they're the one who actually sit on the coffee shop trying to drink coffee and then blame the government that, oh man, this government, nothing is working. And you don't realize that you're part of that government. Why are you guys letting down our leaders? Because there's some leaders who have a good intention for the countries, but there are people who are working against that in our governments, in our countries. And those are these people on the ground. Forget about those who are working hard and, busting the bad off because of especially shout out to teachers, man. Shout out to teachers. These are people who are really despised a lot of time. In Africa, you can say teachers, you can say and doctors, but to be honest, doctors are well loved than teachers. Teachers are in extreme poverty. If you look at where they send them into the village, no internet, no electricity, no water, no public services there. They go there, they're basically living in a jungle. These people, you took them out of the city, you bring them there. Do you think they're going to last even a single month? No, they just come back to continue with the small businesses. Why? Because the environment are not clear. Why they're not clear? Not because government is not releasing some funds. It does release, but the people down there who are supposed to implement and to be accountable and to be responsible with the citizen money, but they're not doing their part. They're putting it in their pocket. And that is the source of their income. That's why you see government workers, they have a lot of money. Government, civil servant, they're supposed to have money, to be honest, to be really honest. You cannot work for the government and have like luxurious car, luxurious house, then not 1, 2, 3. Where do you get that money? While your people who are paying taxes and you're getting that salary are living the poor life. So you have to know, man. If you see a lot of people are running after leadership because there is something there in the leadership. There is opportunities and connection. And most of leaders, I gotta say this, man. I know this was for yesterday, but most of our leaders, they're only there to find connection for their own businesses, for their own families, for whatever, but not for the people. I'm so sorry. Okay, I've done that with yesterday. Today, I am after the people. Those who are not wishing well for this continent. And we better clean our house, because I'm not going to talk about Western influence and Eastern influence. That is too far. Maybe that I can add in number 4. But number 3, I'm talking about those who are not wishing well this continent, who are here in the continent. And when you go to public offices, yeah, yes, they do work. They do well. You know why? Because if they make one mistake, they're fired. So to be honest, sometimes they're not doing it because of they have so much passion for the work and they love it. No, but because they're afraid to be fired. They don't want to fire. They don't want to be fired. And so they do the way they want to do. You understand what I'm saying? So what I want you guys to understand today, as I'm wrapping up this point, is that this continent, it would have been in so much better place if our mindset about this continent and our people and our neighbors were transformed and changed and turned around. This continent would have been in so much better place if the leaders of this continent adopt the spirit of servant leadership and here to serve the people and to serve the big agenda of the country and the continent and not their selfish ambition. And that's why you'll find somebody like Nyerere, Julius Kabage Nyerere, who was in a regime for 20 years plus, and the country really wanted him, they wanted him to continue to lead. But he stepped down. He said, no, no, no. I don't want to continue to lead. I'm going to leave the stage and let others lead. And it's truly, he left. And he was there for many years before he died. Same thing to Mandela. These are people who wish well for the country. They understand that it's not about one man, but it's about these millions of people who need new direction, who need new fresh blood to lead the country. The continent would have been in so much better place if we'll have leaders who are thinking about serving and not to be served. The continent will be in so much better place if civil servant, the third group of people, will be there not to bleed inside out the continent, but to actually contribute to the healing of this continent. Let me tell you this, guys, this continent is hurt. This continent is bleeding inside out. Unfortunately, even the doctors, they don't see where the bleeding is coming from. But thank God for SNOA, Swahili Nation One Africa, because now you know where this bleeding is coming from. And we are able to go straight to where the problem is, the root cause analysis, to do that and to go to fix that so that this continent will never bleed again. This continent is struggling and suffering. This continent is pleading for a new direction. This continent is pleading for new leadership. It's pleading for new people who will stand there, sacrifice everything they have for the second betterment of this continent. This continent is pleading for that because we have been abusing this continent for so long time. We've been abusing our countries for so long time. You, me, everybody, us as Africans, we are responsible. That's why we say this is the year of high standard of responsibility and accountability. Why? Because we don't want this continent to bleed no more. We have been cause of the pain of this continent. I don't know if you feel pain. I feel pain for this continent. We've been the cause of the pain in this continent. We are the cause of that. 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 And we need to bring about change. And now is the time to bring about change. Because this continent has bled for so long. And it needs somebody. It needs the savior. This continent needs a savior. This continent, guys, needs a savior. This continent needs a savior. It needs a savior. And here the savior I'm talking about, guys, they're not whites, not Americans, not Chinese, not Koreans, not Europeans, not Russians. This continent needs a savior. Not European, not Chinese, not them. But in this continent, it needs you. This continent needs Africans. This continent needs Africans who are awakening an uncolonized mentality to stand in this game and to change this continent for good. You are the savior of this continent. I'm not here to just, encourage you and, pop you and to be like, yes, no. I'm here to, I told you the facts and the truth. And now I'm telling you that you are the savior of this continent. God has already done his part. It is our time now to take a part. It is our time now to do our part. You can pray, you can fast and pray for 40 days, asking for a change in the continent. It ain't gonna happen because you are already there. You are supposed to be a change. Where are you asking change from? God, bring change. No, He already there. You are supposed to be a change. I am supposed to be a change. You are the savior of this continent. God has given you ability, mental health, and everything that you need. You have everything it takes to bring about change into this continent, into your business, into your country, into your nation, into your family, into your whatever. You have everything it takes. It's right inside of you. God has given you that ability. It's just a time for you to stand up and to act. This continent needs a savior. And you and me, we can save this continent. I know that with everything I got in my heart, I know that we can, we will, and we must. Because if we don't do, then that's why constantly we have different saviors, different kind of saviors with their own agenda coming. I ain't gonna talk about them today. That will be the fourth enemy of Africa. Maybe I'll add it tomorrow. Do you understand what I'm saying? Are you willing to be the savior of this continent? And when I say that, guys, I'm not saying that you will be Jesus. I want you guys to understand once again that we have our responsibility. We need to be accountable in our society and in everything we have to transform this continent. You can, I can, and we must do it. Otherwise, man, I don't know where we're gonna be. God bless you. Guys, I'm done.